Hello, I'm Don Mitchell. Welcome back to the 2000% Nation, the book that shows you how that each country can become 20 times more fruitful and how you can help make that happen in expanding and improving God's kingdom. Today we'll be moving on to chapter 5, which is about what Christian nonprofit organizations should accomplish. Let me begin, as always, by quoting from the Bible, in this case, the book of Matthew, chapter 24, verses 45 and 46 in the New King James Version. Who then is a faithful and wise servant, whom his master made ruler over his household, to give them food in due season? Blessed is that servant whom his master, when he comes, will find so doing. You may be wondering how the identities and activities of Christian nonprofit organizations should differ from the Christian ministries discussed in chapter 4. Since in many countries Christian ministries are legally structured as nonprofit organizations, in that sense there's no difference. For the purpose of establishing a 2000% nation, the Christian ministry has a primary mission of directly serving the same kinds of needs that Jesus did while he was walking on the earth. A Christian nonprofit organization may also serve some of the same needs, but its primary mission is to accomplish something different from what Jesus literally did, but that still serves God. In most cases, Christian nonprofits serve more specialized roles in supporting churches and independent Christian ministries. Here's a hypothetical example of the distinctions concerning what churches, Christian ministries, and Christian nonprofit organizations should accomplish in developing a 2000% nation. A church should implement the 8 complementary witnessing breakthroughs described in chapter 3, which include operating the Christian radio station. A Christian ministry might focus on encouraging churches to put in radio stations as part of their witnessing activities and provide engineering support to make it easier for churches to start such stations. A Christian nonprofit organizations might focus more narrowly on finding and advocating ways for governments to simplify regulations, determining how churches establish and operate Christian radio stations that are used for witnessing. As a result of such complementary sets of activities by churches, a Christian ministry, and a Christian nonprofit organization, more Christian radio stations sharing the gospel will be broadcasting, a form of fruitfulness that God obviously desires. When no Christian ministries are yet in place to perform a critical task, Christian nonprofit organizations can often help those who are called to produce fruit for the Lord by enabling that task to be performed sooner. For instance, regulatory delays can stretch into many years before a Christian radio station can begin operating. During such delays, some Christians may become discouraged and stop working on establishing the station. If the broadcasting regulations could be simplified and the processes length shortened, more churches would launch and operate Christian radio stations. Let me use a physical analogy to make the point in a different way about how Christian nonprofit organizations can help. Where I live, you can build 2 different kinds of stone walls. One kind uses mortar to bind the stones into the right positions. Because of our cold, wet climate during the winters, the mortar soon crumbles due to freezing of water and expansion of ice, necessitating frequent, extensive repairs. Someone with the right expertise can instead build or direct others in building a stone wall that uses no mortar. The stones simply hold one another in place despite the ice's effects. Done properly, such a wall could easily last a century before needing rebuilding. In this example, building a wall represents the church performing a fruitful task for the Lord, and the mortar represents the initial assistance of a Christian ministry to build and strengthen the wall, providing instead directions to the church and Christian ministry for skipping mortar and building a longer lasting wall, a better result for God, represents a Christian nonprofit organization opportunity's potential contribution. Another way to think about the role of Christian nonprofit organizations is as adding a complementary breakthrough that makes all the other breakthroughs more beneficial in serving God's purposes. The Christian nonprofit organization's activity doesn't replace what the church and Christian ministries do, but rather multiplies the benefits obtained from their efforts. Despite these differences in roles, much of Chapter 4's contents can also be applied to improving the fruitfulness of Christian nonprofit organizations. Consequently, that kind of information is not repeated in this chapter. With these different purposes in mind, independent Christian ministries and Christian nonprofit organizations um, uh, for let's focus on some possible activities for Christian nonprofit organizations to accomplish in establishing a new 2000% nation. And in our next video, we'll begin by looking at improving the effectiveness of fruitful activities. So I hope this has whet your appetite to learn more, and you'll come back for the next couple of videos to understand how Christian nonprofits can be much more fruitful. But in the meantime, may God bless you, your family, and all you do in the name of Jesus. Goodbye for now. Take care.